It's likely that back in 1921, the organisers of the first ever Alpine rally had no idea that a century on, it would be the most popular rally in the land. Outliving all other classic events in Australia, including the Red X Trials, the BP Rally, the Southern Cross and the Castrol, nothing has been able to stop the Alpine's longevity. Now held biannually, it's enjoyed amazing roads and stunning weather over the years, set in a picturesque part of coastal Victoria. But all that is about to change. With the worst weather on record set to dump on the region around Lake's entrance, organisers are bracing themselves for what might eventuate. Regardless, hundreds of enthusiasts have converged on the resort town at midday on Friday for the official start. At exactly the same time, the blue skies of the past several days are due to give way to storms. Welcome to the Alpine Rally, the wet Alpine Rally of East Gippsland. It's an event steeped in history and change. It's a rally that's evolved into an event featuring classic cars, celebrating when rallying was at its height of popularity. Gone is the era of donning t-shirts and shorts, perhaps a helmet at best, and whatever seatbelt, if any, was fitted to the car. With nothing more than a casual regard for safety, competitors raced off into the darkness on forest and shire roads to pit themselves against the clock. So, in a sense, this modern twist on a timeless event is hardly classic. Sure, the cars are generally all of an era that qualifies them as period perfect, but make no mistake, these cars are anything but old. Take Jack Monkhouse. His venerable Datsun 180B has been fully built from the ground up, specifically for this event. He and co-driver Dale Moscott will be powering along stronger and faster than the factory teams that competed in the 70s. But with the aid of modern technology, they can stop quicker too. Add in safety features like a chrome molly roll cage, full harness seat belts, protective race seats, and you have a machine the envy of any old-time racer. The only downside to this new take on an old theme is the bank balance, languishing under the ongoing threat of more and more safety and go-fast bits to even up the odds of finishing unscathed. The conundrum, though, is while modern rallies dwindle in support and numbers, supposedly laden under the burden of cost of compliance, the Alpine Rally of East Gippsland, with its rich history of rallying, has attracted a record number of entries. Within 48 hours of registrations opening, they were closed again with 140 entries paid up, such as the attraction of Australia's premier classic rally that organisers increased the maximum 100 entries to 130 with 10 on a wait list. Amongst a field of 100 more cars than the inaugural Alpine Rally a century ago are some international teams attracted here by its reputation to take on Monkhouse and other Australian rally greats. Dean Buist builds and drives escorts in New Zealand, and over the past decade has won every category, including outright, in the Kiwi Classic Silver Fern Marathon. He's regularly hosted Australian drivers on home soil, and one of them suggested he and co-driver Carl Celeste sample some of the best roads Australia has to offer.
Grant Walker just sort of been twisting my arm for years, and then I just thought, I'll come and do it, and just a challenge, you know, non-notes, which is something we like, and yeah, I don't know, something to do, I suppose.
Despite the casual attitude, the Buist Escort is a bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing.
It's the car we've run for the last couple of years, got a Duratec in it, 213 Duratec, and did the Silver Frond in it in 2014 and Targa and stuff, and done the series. It's, yeah, good old Mark II Escort.
Another top competitor has made it across the ditch too. Derek Asen is the reigning Silver Fern Marathon champion and has won the prestigious Otago Classic Rally a record equalling 3 times. He and his former co-driver Andrew Graves have teamed up again for this event after an offer by Aussie larrikin Ed Mulligan to drive his similar-powered Ford Escort. Asen is under no illusion about the task at hand.
We'd just like to finish. It'd be nice to get through without any dramas, you know, obviously using Ed's car, we want to be careful with it while still pushing on. So if we can get to the end, we'll be stoked. I mean, a result, yeah, look, that'll be a bonus too. But I mean, my money's on Dean Buist. I mean, it's good he's come over from New Zealand too, and, you know, I hope Dean has a good run as well.
Where there's a car rally, there's usually an Irishman, and this event has more than one or two. Of note though is Greg McCormick, who shipped out his Ford Escort, this one powered by a genuine BDG engine. Whether he brings the usual Irish flair to rallying will remain to be seen, but if he and co-driver Barney Mitchell share a similar sense of humour, then being in this cabin could be a barrel of laughs.
I'm very careful, and I would like to look after my car because I haven't the payments made on it yet, so no, we'll try. We'll have to see what the tyre wear is like before we start just throwing the car around. It's more like, let's see what the first couple of stages do this evening, and then we'll work out how sideways we can go after that.
There's plenty of rivalry in the field, but it's balanced with an amazing sense of camaraderie, demonstrated by the banter at the pointy end of the pack. 4 times Australian rally champion Simon Evans has no concerns about the effect the impending weather will have on his and Ben Searcy's drive in the Datsun Stanza. He's sure the rally is in good hands.
I know there's some stages out there that are clay-based, and those ones might be a bit iffy, but the organisers are onto it. They know exactly what's going on. But today's stages, sandy base, it's going to be faster.
But what's going on here? What's this? Hey?
Team Datsun.
Finally, seen the light. Finally.
How's it feel to be number 2, mate?
Number 2. Yeah, how does it feel? You tell me.
So that begs the question, it must be great not to be having to take an event so seriously.
Yeah, look, exactly. Like our build up to this, we've done a few events and testing. We've had nothing but fun the whole time. This Stanza's an amazing little car. Darren Snooks has done an awesome job preparing it for me. But this is, I guess I'm getting into the twilight years of my rallying career now. And these are the events that I love doing. And because you're in love with the sport, and you can't get away from it, you get the same amount of thrill and fun out of it without the pressure. And it's the only way to go now.
Australia's most recent rally champion is also here. Ironically, the Alpine Rally of East Gippsland was his focus for this year, but the chance of an Australia title was too tempting. Now Nathan Quinn and his regular sidekick Dave Green are reassessing their objective for the Alpine.
Pretty well the goal for this year was to do the Alpine Rally, and unfortunately we spent more of our time on the Australian Championship, so the car may not be in tip-top form, but I cannot wait. This is the reason why I went rallying, was for a traditional style rally, and I don't know if I'm excited or nervous about the amount of kilometres we've got to do, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Tell us about the car.
I built the car. It was my first rally car. After I convinced the old man to finally let me get into rallying, I was given the shell, which was an old shell from Armidale, with the cage and so forth in it, and I built it up. $10,000 it cost me 10 years ago, so and nothing much has changed.
His rotary RX2 is a demonstration of the wide variety of cars that have rolled up. Where will a winner come from in an event like this? It's anyone's guess. On a good day in perfect weather, 128 teams covering 450 competitive kilometres in 2.5 days, picking a winner would be a hard bet. Add in the prospect of the predicted weather expected, and that answer is in the lap of the gods. But that's not dampening Tim Bull's enthusiasm.
It's great for the area, fantastic for our region. Absolutely, have this crew in town. It's a good community to have in our region, so very happy to host the event and have everyone here.
In the last 24 hours, the mercury has dropped 20 degrees to single figures. The front expected at midday is right on cue as the cars roll out for the first of 2 afternoon stages. They're not prologue stages. The rally proper is underway in what will no doubt be a test of things to come. The first 2 stages around Lake's entrance are short and should provide no threat to damaging cars. At least that was the plan if the sun was shining. Now with the inclement weather, all bets are off, and it's every man and woman for themselves. Carrying number 1 on the Datsun door plate provides advantage for Jack Monkhouse. The road surface will not get any better after 100 sets of tyres have trampled over it. Still, Monkhouse has some jitters.
Second stage was quite greasy. It was very shiny and not many tyre tracks, so had not a spin, but I was on full lock and basically had to drive quite slow out of it, and then there's a second junction not far from that, and it was very shiny on top, and just locked everything up and stalled, and having to restart it whilst we're moving and get around the corner. So I don't know how we went or whatever, but she's here and it's all good.
800 next call.
Alan Friend played bridesmaid to Monkhouse last Alpine, but the calibre of teams, like the first couple of stages, does nothing for his confidence.
Yeah, a bit more competition this year again, but anyway, we do what we do, I suppose. So,
how were those first couple of stages?
I thought incredibly slippery. I don't know what everyone else thought, but yeah, it just didn't feel comfortable. I don't know, maybe tomorrow will be a new start.
The story is not much different from Brian Van Eck.
It was dry and grippy. How about that? Now, look, a few interesting moments through there. It was a few slippy patches, got a bit sideways, but to be expected in these conditions.
Luke Satima bagged third in the 2015 Alpine Rally and starts well today, although it's not all plain sailing.
Felt grippy the first stage, felt okay, and then the second stage we went past the spectator point and there's a nice little slippery right-hander and we had a spin there and a stall, so it wasn't the best start, but it looks like our time still wasn't too bad. So anyway, it is what it is, and we'll see where we start tomorrow and we'll find out tonight.
Wayne Hoy has a slow start in the 1600. The best he can muster after the opening stages is 27th.
Well, we're here and a bit slippery. I don't know what the other guys think, but it's been slippery and there's a few spots where you can feel have overshot a couple of places and that, but very happy to have those two out of the road.
Simon Evans is, well, Simon Evans. Even if he did have trouble, we're not sure he'd be letting on. He's the master of mind games, and while there's a consistent slippery message from most of the front-running drivers, Evans is much more cavalier.
It's beautiful out there, absolutely beautiful. The stages were relatively grippy. It's what I was expecting, probably more grip than I thought, which is nice. So we had a bit of a brake balance issue, which we set up, but we were expecting that because we changed all the brakes. So I'm happy. Set that up in the first stage, second stage, nice and clean.
Right at crossroads.
If Evans is foxing, it has little effect on Ben Barker, who cleans both stages in the powerful 320i BMW faster than Evans or Monkhouse.
It was tricky. Yeah, it was totally different road now. You're used to a really crowned road, so you had to keep in the middle of the road, otherwise you were at a strife. But that second stage, there was some in the braking markers. It was quite slippery. Like had one spot where it turned it in and it just didn't turn. So, but that was good fun. It was good to settle in on, but it kept you on your toes.
Dean Bewis doesn't start the way he hoped. 6th quickest through the first stage, but drops to 11th with mechanical dramas.
Well, the first stage was really good. The second stage we've lost a couple of gears. We're down to maybe 3rd and 5th, and then did an overshoot at the spectator point, kind of the bank. I think we beat the steering. So it was a really good stage. We enjoyed that.
The other New Zealander, Derek Asen, doesn't fare so well in the borrowed Escort, languishing down in the 20s.
That little bit of rain actually made them very slippery, so we had a half spin at the spectator junction, so there should be a few good photos there.
I don't think you had that on your own.
No, I can imagine not.
And just down the road, some Australian fauna to keep the Kiwis entertained.
There's 2 rangaroos. There's 3 of the 3 right down here. Oh, skid the wheels. Down the road, you roo. Nice work.
Our newly crowned Australian rally champion is not giving much away, but his sense of humour is still intact.
They were pretty enjoyable. It was a really interesting surface. It was like being at the beach, but I did have a spin in that last one, just caught out by the wet conditions, but yeah, it was a pretty steady run, pretty safe, so yeah, it's good.
At 2 minutes between cars, it takes nearly 4 hours to get through each and every stage, with plenty of action up and down the field. Victorians Joel Wald and Kim Beaglehole are lucky their moment of indecision mid-SS1 doesn't cost them. Often the first stage of a rally is a prologue, designed to allow time to get cars sorted and heads dialed in. But not this year's Alpine Rally of East Gippsland. From the get-go, the clock is ticking. With so many in the field, clearly not everyone's here to win this rally. And judging by the conversation in the Irish Escort, Gary McCormick and Barney Mitchell have entertainment as a high priority for themselves and the crowd who've suffered hours of deteriorating weather in the forest.
No, I have all to tell you for another 2.5 kilometres, so just behave yourself, all right?
Every corner is another bit of action, so it is. You don't know what's around the corner. Brilliant, brilliant. So I don't know we're going that fast, but very enjoyable. Something everybody should come and do. Very, very exciting. So it is. You don't know where your grip level is. You don't know what's around the corner. We didn't see any kangaroos yet, but we're hoping so. Okay.
By the end of the first two stages, Ben Barker has claimed the top spot ahead of Jack Monkhouse. But it's early days, and tomorrow's weather doesn't look like it's going to make things any easier. Time will tell. You could be forgiven for thinking the game was over before it had even got underway for the first full day of competition in the Alpine Rally of East Gippsland. Puddles of water created by overnight thunderstorms were quickly merging into muddy bogs as cars assembled for the morning start on the foreshore. The rain continues to drizzle down, making the relative comfort of the car's cabin a welcome reprieve. Still, it's hard to contain the enthusiasm some have for the sport.
I tell you what, I got my bathers on. It's going to be fun. You'll be right.
Our leading New Zealander has his gearbox issue sorted.
Yeah, we fixed that. Yep.
What have you done?
Well, just the detent had come loose on the gear stack. So normally we stake it over and we put a new gearbox in before Timaroo, and then, I don't know, we obviously forgot.
Fortunately, it hasn't cost him too dearly.
Well, who knows, it might be a short day, it could be a long day, couldn't it, with the weather.
The Neil Bates-built Toyota Celica, under Clay Badnock's command, showed signs of greatness yesterday. The civil contractor was second quickest through SS2, although today there might be need for some of his heavy machinery to get through the day.
The Pirellis did really well. Not sure where that time come from. Who knows? Maybe the other guys had a bit of bad weather and we didn't. I don't know, but we were happy and it was nice and smooth and no risky business. So if we could keep putting in times like that, it'll be great. But that's not our aim today, of course. Just keep it on the road, I think.
Weather like this is only fit for one thing, and rally stalwart Bruce Garland is pragmatic.
It's good weather for bloody ducks, isn't it? I don't know. How much? I haven't seen the reroute. What's the plan?
Short, at the moment all they've done short and one on the long today.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, well, the first rallies I did in Mackay, we did them in a cyclone. We didn't have rally tyres on. It was freaking slip slide. I don't know. It'll be a bit of fun.
Yesterday wasn't fun for Jesse Robertson. A nondescript roll early in SS1 took the shine off his rally.
It was sort of a nothing half spin and it dug in and tipped her over. So, yeah, not good. But
too much weight on one side, mate.
Now this morning's dark rain clouds aren't making things much better.
Stay dry.
Staying dry this morning is not an option, and it's going to be a long day with a total of 6 stages covering more than 235 kilometres. Old Buchan runs through the back of Mount Nawanawa. At 37 kilometres, Hospital Creek leads to service in Orbost before SS5 and 6 take the event east to Cann River. Old Coast and Murarunga will bring the rally back to Orbost before the last stage of the day at Old Calhoun. One of the features of this rally is the no wheel spin starts, where drivers must not break traction with the road surface off the start line.
Remember, no wheel spin?
Yep, until that beige board.
Till the beige board.
It's designed to preserve the roads from spinning wheels causing ruts, but perhaps this weekend it might be of little consequence.
And go, 1.5. Remember, cold tyres.
The message from Steph Richards to her driver Grant Walker is clear. There will be no heroics this morning. Survival is the name of the game. And it's Ben Barker who establishes the early lead through Old Buchan. Simon Evans is nearly a second a kilometre slower over the 16k stage, but is second quickest with the escorts of Luke Satima and Kiwi Dean Buist next. Jack Monkhouse's 180B might be a new build, but the old wipers are definitely slowing him down.
Anything above sort of third or fourth gear, the wipers don't really touch the windscreen.
He doesn't have that problem on his own. Nathan Reeves is caught out at the natural chicane in SS3.
At high speed, the windscreen wipers lift up and it just doesn't wipe the windscreen at all, so you can barely see the road. So every time you need to, every say 200 metres, just dab the brake just so the wipers get one wipe of the screen so you can see. And when I dabbed the brake, I realised we were going past the road.
While the front runners might have problems, spare a thought for those further down the 100-car field. With nearly 50 in front of him, Tim Sullivan is almost ploughing his Suzuki Swift through what is fast becoming a mud bob. Sullivan and his UK co-driver, Deb Saltmarsh, do well in the slippery conditions. They climb several places to finish 40th, only to have their day end early with a broken drive shaft very next stage. This is hardly how Phil Thomas imagined his first outing would be for his brand new, built-from-the-ground-up Ford Escort. The 2-litre power plant and sequential gearbox is so powerful that it's a challenge just to get the 300-plus horsepower to the wheels. Seeded 46th this morning, he moves up to 35th after SS3, although mechanical issues will sideline him before the end of 4.
Something's loose in the back. Keep losing the brake pedal.
Even further down the field, former Australian champion and past Alpine winner Bob Watson is scrambling in and out of the ruts created by the preceding 100 cars.
Well done, mate.
The outcome must be frustrating for everyone, least of all those with such pedigree, not once, but twice. SS4 is not much better for most. The rain pelts down unabated and conditions are just getting worse. But again, Barker's BM is fastest to the finish line, well clear of his opposition.
Keeps you on your toes. There's a lot of laying water in like tram line sort of stuff, but there's a lot of different road conditions too, as in the surface. So you just got to pick it and read it and do the best.
Clearly, he's picked it better than everyone else. 26 seconds separate Luke Satima from Barker's stage-winning time, but he's just pleased to be here.
About 1 kilometre from the start, just little bushes, and you couldn't see it, and there was a stump right on the inside, and it's bent the steering. So I imagine he's taken heaps of time off me because the wheels are pointing in the wrong direction. But anyway, we still had a crack, so I haven't driven on roads like that in that much water for a long, long time, and that was very challenging.
Alan Friend is no slouch behind the wheel, but he's surprised to have the Flying Kiwi right on his tail at the end of SS4.
I am, but I'm not. He's probably good in the wet and slippery stuff. I don't know, but yeah, I'm surprised. 2 minutes in there, I don't know how he did it.
One suspects Dean Buist isn't sure how he did it either. 3rd in stage and up to 4th outright. The experience, though, is reminiscent of a rally back home where snow and ice turned that event into a motorised skating rink.
Oh, that's like Catlins in the snow all over again. That's unbelievable.
So, how does he describe the last 20 minutes of his life?
Horrifying. Just when you're 4th gear through the trees, it's just going like this, you're thinking, whoa, that's, yeah, I think my life was more than that.
300, keep medium right. 200, keep medium right.
Out of control. So much standing water, and each time you touch the standing water with the front tyre, the thing is on full lock, and we're pretty lucky. I haven't even seen it, but I can see there's some damage, but we're lucky we're still here because it was like quite boggy where it went off the road, but anyway, she's down to now.
No dents for Simon Evans and Ben Searcy, but the way the trees are flashing by and all that wheel spin, it's any wonder there weren't some.
Now that's welcome back to the Alpine.
That was hard work. Yeah. It was so slippery. But did the best we could.
Evans' best drops him down a place. Luke Satima wedging his Escort between the leading BMW and the Stanza. The potent American-inspired Plymouth Fire Arrow carves its way through the trees. Kay Barrett's plan, starting from 8th this morning, heads a little off track late in the aptly named Hospital Creek stage.
Yeah, I think the plan this morning was just to sort of take it easy and find our groove a bit. Yep. Which was going well. We had a reasonable spin down the road backwards in that stage, which obviously wasn't planned.
So yeah, maybe we cut it back a notch or two for a bit.
Even with a spin, Barrett maintains 5th outright, passing Clay Badenoch marooned mid-stage.
Yeah, we passed him probably about 15 kilometres to go. At least there's no dust this year, so no problems getting past.
Dust was clearly not Clay's problem. In fact, totally the opposite. The windscreen has completely fogged up.
Not enjoyable. We had 2 spins.
2 spins?
Two spins, and yeah. Anyway, we got to the end.
No one escapes the atrocious conditions. Darren Snooks owns the Stanza Simon Evans is piloting, but his own Datsun Violet is rare, and he's eager not to inflict unnecessary damage.
Sorry, mate, came up quick.
An overshoot in the opening morning stage causes no grief, but the same can't be said for the more slippery SS4. The rain doesn't make things any less chaotic in service at Orbost. Steve Porter lamenting the blur that's been his morning of rallying.
Nightmare stage. The greenery is a testament to the roads, trying to stay on the roads and out of the big puddles. You'd be flying down the straight and there's huge sections of water that you're hitting and the car's turning left and right. You find yourself doing all sorts of interesting turns. We had to turn right, we went into backwards because it went left instead of right. It was interesting. But we're still here. Keep going.
Our current Australian champion is struggling to keep going though, languishing down in 22nd place.
Having a real tough time out there. I don't know if it's whether the road's getting worse or whether my suspension's too hard, but yeah, I'm definitely just driving around, that's about it. We've hemorrhaged minutes this morning, so yeah, but every time we hit a puddle, I get a free shower, so that's pretty cool. And Greenie's getting a free shower as well, so that's awesome.
And the well-respected former champion, Ian Hill, is out early after a great start in SS3.
7th was probably not too bad. It's pretty slippery out there. The next stage, we had a little problem about 12k in, but something's actually broken in the back end and just made it really difficult to drive. So we're not really able to fix that at the moment either.
Nothing is actually broken in Michael Harding's 240 RS, but this is not how he expected to learn the technique of driving his new classic rally car. He and James Thorburn are allowed into stage, but it's clear it'll be downgraded and the pair drive through the worst stage of their rallying careers. It's a challenge just to finish without damaging the car.
Going for some more fun in the mud. Try and stop with the water getting in this car. Change the rear tyres, so yeah, see what happens.
What happens is Jack's 180B refuses to start.
No power?
That's all bad. Well, why is it flat? The alternator can't be working if it's flat.
Precious minutes tick by as the team scrambles to replace a faulty alternator. Co-driver Dale Moscott has seen it all before, remaining calm and reassessing their position.
The way these rallies work, we do have late times, so we're not getting penalised at the moment like we would in a normal rally. We've got 30 minutes in each section. We've just started a brand new section, so unfortunately that means there's a good and a bad. We're already using stuff that we'd like to have saved for later, but at the moment we're not getting penalised, so yeah, the boys will hopefully flick it over as soon as we can and we'll get going, and we'll be in a worse road position, but you know, could be worse than that if we don't go at all, so we'll just see how we get on.
Competitors stream back out into the rain while the defending champ and his team replace the alternator. Across the service park, Tom Dermody has his escort up on stands.
About 5k from the last stage, the clutch just slipping, so yeah, it must be people from above telling us to give it up. I think we'll be about another half an hour. We should be on the road again. I think we'll go over late time, we'll hit penalties for sure.
Glass cleaner. Hopefully we can see a bit easier. She's just wet.
Derek Asen's hometown of Gore gets its share of rain, but here in Australia, the Kiwi is a little surprised.
I thought it was coming over here to get away from it, but it's obviously followed us over. Oh, it's just so wet. But anyway, look, we're just ticking along. We don't do anything silly. It's Ed's car and we want to be careful with it, but you know, just a matter of getting through. But Dean's putting some awesome times in.
His co-driver, Andrew Graves, has raced in jet boats as well as rally cars, so water and speed don't generally concern him. Well, mostly anyway.
Whoa, me, that was close.
I just wouldn't turn.
Oh, no, just...
By the end of SS4, Brett Middleton was considering moving into the music business in his Honda Civic.
Yeah, I think my car's had more hits than Elvis. I mean, I lost count how many times we've gone off. The second stage we had an off and Carl Stewart snatched us back on the road, which is really good because he lost time doing that.
Middleton loses plenty of time too. Next car past, his brother Scott, guiding Neil Skye through in the Escort for 17th in stage.
I mean, we're car 15, 20 on the road, and there's some places that's just ridiculously slippery because it's just getting so chopped up. I'd hate to be back at car 100 or 120, even if there's that many cars still going. It would be just getting ridiculous.
As it turns out, the Hospital Creek stage is eventually downgraded, and more than half the field is awarded a derived time. Meantime, SS5 Colson's is underway, and it too is suffering from the big wet. Amongst all the morning issues, Wayne Hoy moves his Datsun 1600 up inside the top 10. He should have started from position 10 today, but with a dose of flu, he was well off the pace in the opening stages yesterday, and that's where his seeded start of 27th came for today.
Being back in the field a bit and the roads have chopped up that quick, very surprising, slippery, just being able to read the road, and where you get a little bit of grip, bit of gravel, you get going, and next thing there's a whole heap of slop, or it's deep slurry type stuff, and then clay, and it's just been very hard to read the road and actually stay on the road.
He and Lisa Dunkerton have done a great job doing just that. Now up to 9th, they'll finish the day in a very credible 7th outright after wrestling the car through roads cut up by those in front. Brian Van Eck is fresh off a win in the New South Wales State Championship, and the prospect of rain here at the Alpine Rally of East Gippsland suited his heavier Toyota Altezza, levelling the playing field to the lighter Ford Escorts. Still, the suspension is way too stiff, and his tyre selection is not ideal, making the Altezza a touch unmanageable. Some hasty changes at the first service have meant he can now deal with the slippery road conditions. Over the 21 kilometres, Ben Barker sneaks home by 2 seconds in front of Simon Evans. Less than 6 seconds separate the top 3 cars in stage, with Luke Satima right on the lead pair's heels. This trio has cleared out from the rest of the field by nearly half a minute. Tasmanian Cade Barrett was next best in the fire arrow, 30 seconds shy. Alan Friend bounces back with the 5th fastest time through Colson's. Even with narrower tyres on the rear and growing confidence, it's still easy to make mistakes.
No, not turning. Keep right uphill.
At car 37 on the road, Neil Cuthbert and Sue Evans were always going to be working harder than those at the head of the field. An overshoot on Friday's short stages didn't help their chances of improving road position, but some confident driving today sees them lift to 15th outright. Unfortunately, the good news ends there. The 200B now permanently sidelined. Conditions haven't changed the banter in the Irish Escort, and even if you can't make out what Gary McCormick and Barney Mitchell are saying, it's certainly entertaining.
I don't know how to call them all. 90s. 400, sorry, 500, 400. Till a hump in the road, and then a Ford straight after it.
Slippy
oh, you just get through it. There's the elephant's dung again now. 200. 100 now to the bump and then through the Ford. There it is. Now, I've gone for you for 4.5 kilometres, Craig.
That's all right, Barney.
So,
sit there and enjoy the view.
Be great if it was grippy.
Wouldn't it be wild good fun, hey?
Keep her in the crown, lad.
See, you keep her off at all, boys.
Get her up the cogs, Craig, just sail her on. That is shitty there, look. That's the old elephant's dung again, get her braked up.
The best Kiwi chance of a win is Dean Buist, but he can't repeat his third in stage through SS4, the slippery conditions getting the better of him.
I just come down to a left-hander and just play, you know, hit the brakes and it just locked them all up and see you later. It's unbelievably slippery, eh? It's incredible. I mean, I've been on slippery stuff, but not for, you know, 56k of it. I know some of that long stage was good, all right, but yeah, some was just, it's just amazing.
If Buist was hoping for help from his Kiwi counterpart, he was disappointed.
Can we tow them back on?
Oh, it's too late now.
Carl Stewart will certainly be credited for the time he took to tow Brett Middleton out, but is not letting that stop him from staying on the pace. Although ranked 16th, he and Anna Ritson finished the 37-kilometre stage 7th. Dale Mosca predicted the number one car would use several minutes of their late time replacing the alternator, so that's now put Jack Monkhouse further down the start order. That means a rougher, muddier track.
500. Straight on, fast right.
Really struggling to see.
300. 200, straight on, fast right.
The muddy track is no issue for Lee Peterson and Daniel Wilson. Seeded 36th yesterday, they showed what they could do, bringing their Nissan Sunny home 24th, elevating their start position for Division 2 this morning. They turned that into 17th by the end of SS4 and have now moved into 11th outright in spite of the conditions. Queenslanders Ryan Smart and John McCarthy started in 17th this morning and made up 2 places through the treacherous SS4. But now things aren't sounding too good in the back of the stanza.
The brake pin's just come out of the back caliper, so rubbing on the back wheel, we thought we broke a diff.
So is that good news or bad news then?
It's okay news, we can keep going.
Smart and McCarthy suffer a maximum penalty time that drops them to 30th outright. But by the end of the next stage, they're back up into 22nd. There's no let-up in the rain as drivers file in through SS6 Glenarte. It's a massive stage running for just over 58 kilometres and will be a game-changer for many teams. A stage win by 47 seconds sounds like a huge margin, but in reality it represents less than a second per kilometre. That's the margin Simon Evans has over Ben Barker in his first stage win of the event. Evans' average speed of 90 kilometres per hour is impressive in the conditions and is 2k quicker than Barker. By contrast, the BMW driver has reached a top speed of nearly 170 kilometres an hour to the stanza's 152, but Evans is up for it.
It's like driving a bar of soap in a bathtub. Yeah, the car's just doing this and you can't stop it. Every time you hit the brakes, it goes silent. Nothing happens. You turn the wheels, it keeps going straight. You just got to have your wits about you, it's good. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the challenge.
3 kilometres.
The challenge for Jack Monkhouse is staying in touch with Evans and Barker, the 180B having lost 50 seconds to the lead through the previous stage. Beating Barker and Evans is furthest from Nathan Quinn's mind. He knows the lead pack is out of reach and his focus is on getting his Mazda RX-2 to the end. Right now it's as wet inside as out, but the main issue for the rally champ is just keeping the vintage rotary on track.
Spotting camera there. That's a shame.
I guess that depends on whose point of view you're looking at it from, Nathan. No problem here for Brett Middleton. The little MRT Honda Civic is tapped out and heading to the finish.
It's like driving on polished snot. It was slippery as. But just the hard part is it's really unpredictable. It's just you drive for the conditions and drive really slow, or do you have a bit of a go and make a risk of going off? You just got to make a decision there.
The Civic is stuck fast, but it seems they're not the first ones in here. Jack Monkhouse and Dale Moscott appear from the bush and have a plan they're unable to use themselves. When the 180B came off the road, it broke a steering arm, ending their rally. But they have a way out for Middleton, so it's all hands on deck. The MRT Civic will make service, but with close to 100 cars still to come through, organisers have made the call to downgrade the next 2 stages.
We've got to think of the people having a go and enjoying the sport and make sure that they get good value out. There's nothing more demoralising than running a stage and getting through it and losing half a field because it was just so difficult to read. So I think that's the right decision.
Alan Friend and Michelle Canning might not win this stage, but they do win the prize for most innovative and effective interior windscreen demister. While most have done what they can using rags, route books, squeegees and even hands to clear their misty screens, co-driver Michelle Canning has come prepared. Jack Whiteman has been steadily moving up the leaderboard, but the Sylvia is all over the back of the 280Z by mid-stage. Starting from 27th, Whiteman and Steve Beaufoy will have the popular Japanese sports car into 9th outright after a consistent drive through this stage. Alan Friend is powering on though, and soon finds himself on a straight stretch that by now Jack Monkhouse wishes he could warn everyone about. Monkhouse gets another competitor back on the right track.
Now, concentrate. Just under 2Ks to go.
Like we're in the jungle.
We are in the jungle, f***ing Australian jungle. There'll be some zebras and some f***ing wild elephants around here shortly.
Zebra or a Zidka?
Well, I've seen a couple of Zidkas, but all we need now is a zebra.
Derek Asen pushes on deeper into the jungle, and pretty soon he and Andrew Graves are hurtling down the straight to Jack's corner.
Here. Nice spin. Go.
What's the guy waving for?
He's just saying go.
But they don't go far.
Well, there's a sneaky wee bastard, wasn't it? Nicely handled. Again.
I would say that's probably us.
Rowan Wallard came into this event seeded 11th, but the Series 2 Mazda RX-7 has been a handful in the slush, running 30th car on the road. Through SS4, he dropped another 10 places with serious visibility issues, but clambered back to 30th and then 20th fastest through 5 and 6.
Just for some reason, it's just not getting any grip. Like literally just come in and passenger most of the stages, so I can't get any time at all. I just can't get the confidence in this wet weather. Like it's just, you get a little bit here, you come up and all of a sudden just passengers, I don't want to bin it.
Shane Harmer has heard plenty of good things about the Alpine Rally of East Gippsland, but this weather was never part of the conversation back in his hometown of Perth.
bit of an unknown all round, really. Like, we didn't know what to expect. I never raced anything other than the ball bearing stuff over in WA. So to come over here, I got told it was going to be grippy. It wasn't going to be grippy, and then it rain's going to throw a whole new spin on it. So yeah, I just didn't know what to expect. So yeah, here it is. It's a hard one to pick your braking distance at the moment because, you know, you're sort of with a bigger car. I find them braking 50 metres too early than everyone else. But, I mean, if you get caught out in the wide stuff, you're off because everyone's just cut a line through there. So you're fighting it constantly and getting it back on the track. But it's fun. It's so much fun. Yeah.
There's more than one Commodore in this field, but some of them have been using the conditions to put on a show. Mud flies through the final stage, and Andrew Daniel pushes inside the top 10 through the final stage to the delight of his supporters. The real positive out of the last stage, Old Calhoun, is the entertainment for those at the right-hander 2/3 of the way through.
Can you shut it? Oh, you're a lucky boy.
At the end of a diabolical day in the dirt, Ben Barker is on top from Simon Evans with Luke Satima in third. Despite steam billowing from his engine, Kay Barrett holds on for fourth with Alan Friend rounding out the fastest five. Sixth is Brian Van Eck ahead of Wayne Hoy with Nathan Reeves, Clay Badnock and Jack Whiteman rounding out the top 10.
Hi, I'm Shane Alker. This is my second Alpine rally. I'm currently 19 years old.
100, keep right, about an 8 right. 400 metres, turn 5 right.
What do I like about rallying? It's a great family event. I love the cars, and the Alpine for me is just always an event I've wanted to do. We've been pretty lucky, really. Had one close call, went a bit wide on a corner. Apart from that, had a clean run, a great event.
It definitely feels like it's surging.
Oh, slippery.
G'day, I'm Mark Travers from Bunbury. Travelled 4,500 k's to enjoy the lovely Victorian weather and compete in the Alpine Rally. What is it that attracts me to this rally? Probably all cars being reasonably equal. Two-wheel drive, old school rally cars, all out for a bit of fun. The roads over here seem awesome, and it would be lovely to probably have a bit of a go at them in the dry, but even in the wet they're still fun and definitely challenging. Ralling's always been in the family and also friends, so I was always naturally going to get involved with the sport, and started at a young age at autocross and then gradually moved into rallying at the age of 19. After we won the 2015 Western Australian Two-Wheel Drive Championship, got a phone call from Hugh Harmer from Onslow Contracting and offered to bring the car over here, and there's no way I was going to decline the offer, and I'm really glad that we came in. I really appreciate all the help and effort they put into it.
What a difference a day makes, or in this case, a night.
The only stuff I've done that's crazier than this has been in Thailand and stuff where you're just driving in conditions that you cannot drive in.
Teams assemble outside the rally headquarters in the middle of downtown Lakes Entrance and reflect on what was a chaotic day yesterday.
The last VRC last year was very similar conditions and it was shocking as well. But anyway, it's not what we like, but it's what we got.
But it's the Alpine, and we're here.
Neil Skye caught Carl Stewart in stage yesterday, making up time on what he thought was a slower car.
I tried not to focus on him, but I didn't want to have to pass him. Pretty happy with myself at the time. Thought, we've taken 2 minutes out of Carl, only to find out later he'd stopped to snatch Brett Middleton back onto the road.
We went off in the first stage in the morning. I think we had a spin or an off in every stage, and definitely too stiff, way too stiff. So the car is really competitive in the dry, as we saw on the first stage on Friday, but we definitely struggled yesterday. It's a bit of a kick in the guts.
Brought our way into the stage and made a call last night after talking to the team that we might as well withdraw because we're out of the event anyway, and there's no point today carrying on putting the car into the trees.
Look, it's a really great event. It's just a shame about the rain and then the slippery conditions, but hey, we've met a lot of great people here, so yeah, it's been a really great experience.
The remaining Kiwi, Dean Buist, is still in and picking up tips from rally leader Ben Barker.
Every braking part point into it was slippery.
Right.
But it was a wide road.
Yeah.
And you wanted to keep it flowing up the hill, and you got, nah, I can get through this stuff, and just, nah, understeer, oversteer, and corner after corner after corner, and done the same thing.
Yeah, it's amazing, yeah. It's just, yeah. I mean, because some roads, like I worked on, when there were stones, there was plenty of grip, wasn't there? You know, but anything that didn't have stones was just like...
The real white stuff was grippy.
Yeah.
Tim Sullivan is also back with a replaced drive shaft and regathered enthusiasm sapped out of him yesterday.
It's treacherous. Basically, we were surfing down the ruts. We're getting wheel spin in 4th and 5th gear at 150 kilometres an hour, which we've never had before in the front wheel drive. And you touch the brakes and lock up the brakes, and you're not slowing down. So it was very much point and shoot, and just trying to keep it on the island.
Just 5 stages make up the final day. Howitt and Bald Hill start and finish north of Bairnsdale and will be followed with a quick dash around the Speedway. After a final service in Bruthen, SS13 Engineers runs over Ash Range before the final stage, Uncles, in the Calhoun Regional Park. Those teams who opted out today based on yesterday's conditions might live to regret that decision. The rain has all but gone and fresh winds are quickly drying out the track. At 25 kilometres, Howitt is the first through the trees. Neil Skye has a moment, backing it off into the remains of yesterday's big wet after a broken brake pad leaves him with less control over the Escort. Carl Stewart seizes the moment, a chance to gain back some important minutes on his competition. Through SS11 though, Stewart hits a rock in a rut.
First stage, brilliant. Absolutely loved it. Second stage, I felt like I was going really well, and Anna called this ruts, bumpy ruts uphill, and last minute saw in the bottom of one of the ruts was a really big embedded rock. Smacked it. First one was please don't get a flat over the crest, and the road went right, and it was just understeer, and we almost hit a tree. Pulled up and there was a guy there with a camera. He was taking photos of us, so there was Anna and I trying to change a tyre, and back in the car I was just sweating. It was fun. Another memory.
Stewart needn't worry about losing time to the Escort. Skye is on track to hit the same rock. Clay Badnock goes bush when he realises he won't make a corner on SS10.
I started trying to turn the corner and went, no, that's not happening, and then looked for a gap and off we went. And I don't think I lost much time either, so yeah, it was pretty fun. But I tell you what, those stages, it was worth all the pain yesterday to drive on those 2 stages today.
And Luke Satima is lucky not to lose his 3rd place outright after a moment of his own.
We came over a crest that looked like it opens, but it tightened, and there was a big tree on the outside. It was a right-hander, and we were going to hit it. So I went for the bank and rode up the bank and bent the steering quite badly.
900 metres to the next ball.
The banter in the Irish Escort gets more serious as Greg McCormick approaches Satima's diversion.
600.
That's it over. Plenty of Barney. Sorry.
You're right, Greg. Get it right there.
Seems SS10 has an attraction with Escorts. Grant Walker in a rare but rally-ending moment.
300, crest, and then road goes right. Could come up early. 200.
Like the Irish team, they escape without injury thanks to stringent safety regulations. That's one thing that's definitely changed in the last century. SS10 is hardly Evans' revenge, but the Stanza does make up time on the BMW, and it has Ben Barker concerned.
He took a heap out of me.
I think it was 0.9 and 0.1, so I've got gained a whole second in 50 Ks. So, yeah, no, it's coming, Ben.
Barker has a commanding 1 minute 17 second lead over Evans. Still, it doesn't take much to change the order. Just ask Rowan Wallard.
Just come up this little fast section, got a bit greasy into this, sort of just come up to a right-hander, and that was it, just a passenger. And I was yelling out, Tommy, because I thought, we're going to have to brace ourselves. And as we're coming over, I just seen this little grader scrape, and I just braked into it, got off as soon as we hit it, bounced us over the other side of the road, and we hit that bank, come on, and got back on it.
Ryan Smart's day is better than yesterday. He and John McCarthy lift the Stanza to 4th in stage through Bald Hill. The short speedway stage is cause for concern. Despite efforts to dry the track, it's holding yesterday's water and really can't be used. But the crowd's here to see some action, and that's what is hastily pulled together. The infield is converted into a simple oval track on grass, and the Zero car is sent out to see what it's like.
We probably should have skipped it, but anyway, the crowd's up there, so we'll do our best to give them a bit of a show, but I don't think it'll be much. It'll be battle of survival, getting around without spinning or getting bogged, I'd say.
Big six-cylinder, Elenza 18. Oh, he's out sideways, he's lost it. He's had a bit of a overshoot there, a bit of understeer. Looks like along. Takes the checkered flag with a time.
It was hardly important for the drivers, and fortunately doesn't affect any positions, but it was hugely important for the crowd, who were making up for the forest spectating yesterday.
Oh, I think I lost something like 10 seconds to Cade, ridiculous. So, but I'm not really worried. We took time off in the last couple, but we're just cruising along now, having a bit of fun. It's a good day. Sun's coming out, so yeah, it's a day late, that's all.
Darren Snooks might be out, but as the owner of the number 2 car, he's very excited.
What can I say? Going exceptionally well. Simon's doing a fantastic job, but the car's done well too, so just got to get him to the finish now.
Andrew Daniel has been powering the big Commodore through the 2 morning stages with zeal. After the mud of the first day, this is almost V8 heaven.
Yesterday wasn't much fun. We're going to get a contract for doing the new pipeline, doing some trenches.
Well, I think it's a credit to them they actually got an event on the road at all yesterday, because it was bloody horrendous conditions for everybody.
For former Australian champion David Officer and longtime co-driver, wife Kate, this is quintessential Alpine. But things have changed a little over the years.
Back in the day, we used to run in shorts and T-shirts pretty much. We always wore helmets, I've got to say, but no, I think this event's every bit as competitive as the events in the 80s were, certainly. And getting more so with all the people who want to win it.
Dean Buist can't win the Alpine Rally of East Gippsland, but he's certainly pleased he restarted this morning.
It's good, it's good. Derek's missing out.
His times this morning better reflect his ability behind the wheel, top 5 for both the opening Sunday stages. Through 13 engineers, Buist is still top 5, but so too is Ryan Smart, up into 3rd, just a second behind his old ARC rival Simon Evans. Fro Horriban makes a last-ditch appearance in the top 10 as well. The Datsun 180B and driver better suited to the longer 30k stage, and no doubt a little confidence is returning after his lack of brakes yesterday in very trying conditions. Ben Barker pulls out all stops through engineers, extending his lead by another 22 seconds over his main rival to rub salt into the wound. It's a foxing move that is, ironically, textbook Simon Evans. The final stage has little change in the order, although Andrew Daniel shows what his Commodore might be capable of in drier conditions. Third fastest amongst some pretty formidable car and driver combinations. Dean Buist flies the flag for New Zealand one more time, coming home strong for a stage third. Simon Evans only drops 3 seconds to Barker on the final Uncle stage, but nothing is going to unseat the team that's led from start to finish. Ben Barker and Damien Long have driven through everything Mother Nature could throw at them and risen to the top of a very big pile of rally cars in the Alpine Rally of East Gippsland.
Yeah, that's been a long time coming, that one. Oh yeah, I wanted that one pretty hard, I did, I tell you. But we give it a couple of cracks there 4 years ago and we're doing well. And anyway, we knew we could do it, we just had to have a good run. And we give it to Simon on that second last stage too, so that was even better. So yeah, that was fantastic.
That was fantastic. We were pushing so hard today. That last stage was absolutely magic. What a way to end the rally. Big smiles. Stanza was fantastic. Snooks boys did a great job. What a car. And what else would you expect from the Alpine? We had dust. Unbelievable. Fantastic.
So, our fastest 5 looks like this. Barker from Evans out in a battle of their own. Luke Satima holds on for third once again, with Cade Barrett solid in fourth, while last year's runner-up will have to be satisfied with fifth this time. Brian Van Eck finishes 3 minutes clear of Clay Badenoch, with the 280Z of Jack Whiteman in eighth. Our current Australian champion finishes ninth, with the Commodore of Andrew Daniel rounding out our top 10. The Alpine holds the mantle of Australia's longest-running car rally. It's steeped in history with stories spanning generations of rally fanatics. No doubt 2017 will only add to the wonder and mystique that makes this the country's greatest gravel rally.